Welcome to Yoga Stretch. My name is Katy. Today we're going to talk about internal and external rotation. So let's think about our feet. If you're a person who generally has their feet outwards and walks with their feet outwards, you have very strong external rotators. If you're a person who has feet going inwards and you walk and they're inwards, that means you've got very strong internal rotators. So what we need to ideally do is stand with our toes forward, our knees forward, and our hips nice and straight. And in that way we can balance out our internal and external rotators. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that as we go through our postures today to see if you can become more aware of your internal, external rotators. And we're going to spend a little time stretching them, and then we're going to spend a little bit of time looking at our body alignment. Now the external rotator muscles that we're going to focus on are our buttocks muscles and the internal rotator muscle underneath there, as well as the backs of our thighs, the upper leg. We also need to look at, for our internal rotation, is the inside of our thighs and around our hips. And we also need to stretch hips for external rotation as well. So let's start by lying down. Now, lying down on your back to start off with, because we're going to change to the front in a moment. So let's pause here, and what I want you to focus on is dropping your feet outwards. Just let your inner thighs relax. Now this is a classic external rotation position where our feet are dropped outwards, but for the purposes of relaxing our hips, it's quite a good position. So what I want you to do today is let's change that external rotation and bring the toes up to the ceiling. Have your legs hip width apart, so if they're quite wide, just bring them a little bit closer together so they're in line with your hips. Bring your toes forward, so you're pushing through your heels. Now I want you to pause there just for a few minutes, so you can have your eyes closed. Make sure you slide your shoulders towards your hips and your chest is open. You can place your left hand on your heart center, right hand on the belly, or just leave your arms by your sides. Now let's focus on breathing into the belly and keeping those toes pointed at the ceiling. So for some of you who do externally rotate, this might be quite challenging. And even those who internally rotate, this can also be quite challenging. So let's see what our body says to us when we lie here for a few breaths. All right, now we're going to take a few stretches to wake up our body. Breathe in. This will help energize the body. Reach the arms over the head, let the back arch up a little bit, chest reach up to ceiling. Big breath in the rib cage and breathe out. Toes towards you, arms to sides. Okay, breathe in, arms overhead, point toes towards the floor, and breathe out, arms to sides. And let's do that 2 more times. Nice big stretch. And breathe out, hands to sides. And last one. Okay, let's walk our feet to the end position. And we're going to bring the knees to the chest one at a time. And from here, take the hands behind the knees. We're going to do a little bit of back rolling. So let's lift the head up, drop the chin to chest, relax the shoulders down. Draw the navel down, lift yourself up a bit. Keep your back as round as you can. We're going to swing those legs, tap the toes down, pull the tummy in, round the back out, don't let the head touch the floor. Now if you don't like back rolling, then just take a seated position or join you in a moment. We're going to try 2 more. Now the secret to this rolling is keeping the back nice and round, particularly the lower back. All right, come to a seated position, cross your legs, come onto your knees, otherwise just legs out to the side. Let's lay on our front. We're going to snap our hands, rest our head on top. Now slide your shoulders towards your hips, don't leave them by your ears. Okay, Now we're going to bend our knees one at a time. Make sure you press your hips down to the mat. So you're squeezing a little bit into the bottom of your buttocks. Tummy slightly lifted. Let's rotate our ankles. So we want to get some nice rotation in the ankles. And let's try one more circle. Change direction, go the other way. Now we're going to draw circles with our knees. That's it, nice big circles. Just walking out into the knees. And let's go the other way. All right, let's lower the legs down. Now this time I want you to tighten your tummy up, and that will cause you to press your pubic bone in the mat and squeeze the bottom part of your buttocks. Shoulders still away from the ears, don't let them creep up. And lift your right leg. Breathe in to lift the leg and press that same hip down. You may need to get a squeeze in the bottom of your buttocks. Lower the leg down, let's change sides. Squeeze, press the hip down. Lower the leg down, let's do that one more time each side. Lift up and lower. Lift the other leg and lower. Now we're lifting two legs. Nice squeeze in the bottom part of the buttocks. Lift your legs up and lower them down. Let's do that again. Lift and lower. Nice work. Now keep the hands stacked where they are. Shoulders towards the hips. Tighten the tummy. Nice and firm in the buttocks. Hips pressed down. Then breathe in. Lift up your torso, head and chest. Breathe out. Lower it down. Let's do that again. Breathe in. Lift. And breathe out to lower. Now slide your hands down near your chest. Elbows and arms near the sides of the body. We've got a cobra. So let's lift our head and chest. Lift the arms up. Now squeeze the buttocks, lift the legs up. Spread your toes out. That's it, lovely. Now we're going to turn to one side and look towards our toes. And then breathe in forwards. Breathe out, look to your other foot. Okay, breathe in forwards, one more time. Breathe out, look over your side, your shoulder. Breathe in forward, breathe out, look over your other shoulder for that twist. Place your hands down and tuck your toes. Oh, just place your hands down, lifting into a cobra and a high cobra. Then let's come into a child's pose. So toes together, knees a bit wider than hips. Let's take a stretch. Extend your arms forward. Now slide the shoulders to hips, tighten the tummy. That's it, we should feel our shoulder blades nice and flat, neck comfortable. If you need to put your elbows down, do, but otherwise lift and lower, try to get your back to do some work. Okay, from here we're going to go into a cat and a high cobra. So let's breathe in into cat and squeeze your buttocks, lengthen through the arms, draw the shoulders down and lower yourself down. We're going to lift ourselves back up, go into the cat and back into child's pose. Let's do that again. Breathe in, lift up to cat, breathe out into a high cobra, lower yourself down, then breathe in, lifting up, and breathe out, come to a child's pose with arms extended. Now from here, you can either continue that same movement, cat to high cobra, or you can join me with a spitting cobra. Lower your elbows down and slide your body forward like it's almost touching the floor, lift up into high cobra. Come back into child's pose. That's it, nice big stretch. Beautiful, and let's lower the elbows down, splitting cobra forwards. Breathe in, tuck the toes under, let's lift the hips up and stay in down dog. Have a look at your feet, make sure the toes are pointing forwards. Walk your heels up and down. So always check your body for alignment, because we're going to focus on those internal and external rotators. Okay, so now stretching into the calves and the ankles. Let's lower the heels down, tighten the tummy, lift the hips, slight shoulder blades towards the hips,
And let's work into the upper arms. Keep the back nice and flat and strong. Take 3 big breaths right around the rib cage. Okay, take a walk with your feet towards your hands. And I want you to look very carefully at your feet. Make sure your toes are pointing forward, your heels are directly under hips, and your knees are pointing forward. Pull your tummy up, let your upper body hang down. Hold your elbows. Move the weight forward in your feet. Let's move the elbows from side to side, stretching each side of your back and the lower back. So this is very good for your external rotators. So we're stretching around the buttocks and around the backs of the thighs, back to the upper legs. So these are important muscles to give a good stretch to. All right, lovely. Place your hands on your shins. Let's breathe in, breathe out. Slide your hands up your legs and lift your shoulders to ears, roll back and draw them downwards. Okay, give yourselves a shake. Now we're going to do some hip opening and working rotators from the horse stance position. So let's start with the hands on the hips. And we're going to bend the knees. Now pull the tummy in as you do this. And we're going to lift up our left foot and lunge it back. And let's rotate ourselves around to face the front. So we're lengthways on the mat. Now the nice thing about this is we're going to work into our hips, the inside of the thighs where we've got our rotators, and also backs of legs. And we're going to challenge ourselves a little bit by coming into this horse stance. So now what I want you to do is I want you to push your back back so your knees are behind your toes. If I come sideways, you'll see what I mean. If your knees are here, you're going to work too much in the knees and the knees are not going to be happy. So we're going to pull the tummy in, push the hips back. So work towards it. My knees are behind my toes. I'm getting a big stretch around my buttocks and the backs of the thighs, which are very important to stretch out for those external rotators. All right, so let's pull that tummy in, sit back. Can we feel the big stretch around the buttocks and the backs of those thighs? All right, now we're going to bring the backs of our hands together and shoulders are down, tummy in. We're going to breathe in, big circle, breathe out. Backs of hands together, breathe in, big circle. Let's bring the backs of the hands together again. Breathe in. Beautiful. Okay, now we're going to stay in this position. If you do need a rest, straighten your legs just for a moment. Now we're going to place the hands on the thighs. Draw the shoulder blades downwards. All right, now lift one heel up and lower it down. Let's lift the other heel up and lower it down. Change feet, lift and lower. Now the other side. This time we're going to lift both heels up. Now can you feel this working quite strongly in the backs of your thighs and around your buttocks? All right, so getting the backs of the hands together also works into our hips. So these are our rotators in our hips. And let's breathe in, big circle, breathe out. Let's do it again. Stay on your toes if you can. And breathe in. That's it, beautiful. Pause here for a little bit, that makes you work a bit harder. Let's do it one more time. Breathe in and breathe out. Okay, lower the heels down. Lovely, doesn't that feel good? Toe heel your feet back together. Okay, let's give ourselves a little shake. Now we're going to go back down and do a little bit of seated work. So let's take the right foot behind the left and take a seat. Now I want you to bring your legs into a V pose. So your legs will be as wide as you're comfortable putting them, or as narrow as you wish. So bring your toes forward, and I want you to spend a little bit of time looking at them. Are your feet rotated outwards? If they are, I want you to point them back up to the ceiling. And same thing, if your toes are inwards, I want them back up to the ceiling. So let's pull the tummy in, lift the chest up, shoulders drop down, and we're nice and strong in the front of the body. If you can't manage this posture, turn your hands into fists, take your hands behind you and help support your back. Otherwise, come with me, lean forward, hands on the floor, and walk your hands forward. Now, if you're a forward bender, you might like to lay on your front. If you're not such a forward bender, just lean forward as much as you're able to. So let's take a few breaths here down into our belly and the lower back. We're going to lift up and walk our hands over to our right foot. How's our foot looking? Pull the tummy in, rotate rib cage so the centre of the chest lines up with the shin. Now we're going to bend forward. Now, if you can hold your foot comfortably without lifting your shoulders to your ears, please feel free to do that. Now, what I want you to do is check your left foot. Is it rolling inwards or rolling outwards? You need to keep aware of what that foot is doing. So let's settle into this posture and take a few breaths. Okay, now take the right hand outside, or your left hand outside your right knee, right arm behind the back, shoulders down, tummy in, and rotate. So you're going to try and look at your shoulder, and you can slide your left hand down the outside edge of your foot to your ankle or hold the outer edge of the foot. Your shoulders are down. Now, are you remembering what to do with your left foot? Has it dropped in because you've forgotten about it, or has it dropped outwards? Keep some focus into the foot, particularly the opposite foot. Okay, beautiful. Now we're going to release. We're going to bring our left foot in, then our right leg over. Give the hips just a little rest. So make sure you lift up, sit down just on the front of your sit bones, and put your hips in a very good position to bend forward. Let's breathe in, lift the arms up, palms forward, breathe out, lower the hands down. So if you're not a forward bender, you might very well be up here. Otherwise, pull your tummy in, walk your hands forward, and just bring your elbows to the floor. Shoulders downwards, chin tucked in. Let's breathe into the hips. Okay, walk your hands back. Now do feel free to sit in a lotus pose or a half lotus pose when you do these forward bending positions. Otherwise, easy seated is quite comfortable, and if your hips are flexible enough, you'll get a very good stretch in that position. All right, we're coming back to our V pose. Bring the legs out nice and wide. Toes towards you, point them up to the ceiling, and lift up the chest, shoulder blades down. Now we're going to breathe in, lift the arms up, and breathe out. Let's twist. Now make sure your arms are on either side of your torso. We don't want one arm forward and one arm behind. We do want them out to the sides. So your chest will line up with your thigh. So line your mid-chest up with your thigh. Breathe in, lift the arms up. Breathe out, twist the other direction. Breathe in, lifting up. Breathe out, twist. We're going to do it one more time. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in. Now this time we're going to float our right hand down to our shin and rotate our rib cage, then bend to the side. And you can have the elbow inside the knee. Now extend the arm or bend the elbow, whichever you prefer. And some of you might like to go and hold your big toe. That's your option too. This gives you a chance to look at your left foot and see if your toes are pointing at the ceiling. Now breathe into the side of your body. Okay, let's lift up. Very nice, and lower your hand down. Now we're going to bring our left leg forwards. Our right leg goes over the top. This is our option 1 legs. Option 2 is, if you have good knees, then bend the knee. Lift up and sit down on both sit bones. Option 3, you can slide this foot back into the full alert pose
where you line your knees up and you stretch into your hips, fronts of feet face forward. I've got a cow face pose now, so let's lift our left arm up, bend the elbow, shoulder blades down and chest lifted. So if you're rounding your back out, you're going to look a little bit like this, gazing at your thigh. But when you lift your chest up and drop your shoulders down, you become nice and tall in the spine. So that's how I want you to sit. You can take your arm behind your back now for your option 2. Link your fingers, one elbow to ceiling, one elbow to floor. And if you'd like to stretch your hips a little bit more, let's pull the tummy in and lean forward. Let's take 3 breaths here. Okay, let's breathe in and we're going to lift up. Let's release those hands and we're going to take this foot, just bring it forward, make your other leg comfortable, and we're going to take our left hand outside our right foot, or you can hold the outer edge, the ankle, somewhere down the knee, whichever works for you. Now your shoulders are down, your tummy is in, your spine is up tall. Bring your right arm behind your back, turn it into a fist, hold yourself up. Or if you can, lift the arm up and let's gaze at the thumb. So we've got a lovely twist in this position. Can we feel the lovely stretch in the back of the extended leg? That should feel very, very nice. And that's, of course, working into stretching our hip rotators, particularly the external ones. Okay, bring the leg down again. Now we're going to bring our legs back into that V position and make sure you're leaning forward. So if you get that little forward lean, you're going to be on the fronts of your sit bones. Toes pointing upwards, check the knees. Is everything in alignment? Make sure your internal and your external rotators are all working to keep your legs straight. All right, let's breathe in, lift up, palms forward, breathe out, hands down. Take a walk with your hands to that position where you can manage to bend forward and feel a stretch, but you're not really uncomfortable. Now let's lift up and we're going to walk our hands on either side of our leg, pull the tummy in, lift the torso up and rotate so the centre of the chest lines up with the centre of the shin. Breathe in and breathe out, bending forward, elbows on the floor, feel that lovely stretch in the back of that leg. Again, our external rotators, getting a good stretch out. And you can hold your foot if it's comfortable and your shoulders don't lift up. And then take a quick peek at your right leg. Make sure the toes are up at the ceiling, your leg hasn't rolled out or inwards. And let's take a few breaths here. Now we're going to take our right hand outside our left leg. Left arm behind the back, shoulders away from ears, tummy in, look over your shoulder. You can slide your hand to the outer edge of your foot or towards your ankle, just anywhere along the leg that suits you. Just check your right foot, make sure it's not dropped inwards or gone outwards. Okay, and release. Lovely. Right, this time we're going to bring our right foot close in and our left foot over. Now remember, easy seated position or lotus or half lotus is quite fine. All right, so now we're going to breathe in, lift the arms up, nice big stretch through the torso, breathe out, hands down to the floor, pull your tummy in and just bending forward as much as you can manage. Chin to chest, relax around the neck and the shoulders. Let's take a few breaths into our belly and into the back. Okay, let's lift up. Legs back into a V again. nice and comfy on the sit bones, toes forward. Breathe in, reach up. Breathe out, twist to the left. Breathe in, stretch up. Breathe out, twist to the right. Let's do it 2 more times. Breathe in, reach up. Breathe out and twist. Breathe in, reach. And breathe out and twist. Breathe in, reach up. And lower the left hand down. Rotate your ribs to the right and let your hand down. So nice big stretch in the arm, or just bend the elbow. Relax the shoulders. You can hold your big toe if you want to. Now let's look at that right foot, see if the foot's pointing up to the ceiling. All right, let's lift up, using the side of the body to lift. And this time we're going to bring our right leg forward, left foot over. So that's our option 1, lovely for the knees. Option 2 is bend the knee, make sure the inside of your knee is comfortable. Let's sit up onto the sit bones. Option 3 is your full alert pose. Okay, now this time we're going to do our cow face pose, starting on the right side. So remember, shoulders down, chest lifts, chin slightly tucked in, so we've got beautiful alignment in our spine. Stay here for option 1, or option 2 is full cow face pose. So if your hands don't quite reach on one side, don't worry about it, just have your hands on your back or hold a towel or a belt in your hands. Lean forward if you can. Now let's stretch a little bit more into the hips. And let's lift up again. Beautiful. All right, now let's readjust these feet. So this knee might like to come out a little. And then taking the right hand outside the left ankle, lift it up. You might be able to hold the foot. And shoulders down, tummy in, chest lifted. And bring your other arm behind the back. You may want to turn it into a fist, or just bring the arm behind your back, thumb up. And let's gaze at that thumb. Breathe around your rib cage. And let's relax down. Perfect. Right, we're going to do a gate pose. So come onto your hands and knees, and we're going to slide that left foot away, lower the foot down, and lift our arm up. So here we're in our side gate pose. Line your palm up with your knee and with your back heel. All right, from here, we're going to reach up to the ceiling and lift up, and then place your hand on your thigh and bring the other arm over. So can you feel that stretch around the ribs? All right, so nice big stretch around the ribs. So we're also stretching the inside of our thigh, which is our internal rotator. Now we're going to bring our body into a T position and tilt just to the side. Can we have our arms in a T, shoulders down, nice firm waist? And we're just going to hold this position. That's it, feeling quite strong. You might like to just lower yourself a little bit more. Can you feel you're working your waist? Let's lift up and take a stretch to the side. Nice work. Okay, lifting up, and let's tilt to the side, getting that nice T position. And then if you can, just a little bit lower. How are we managing? Now lift up, hand on the shin, take a big stretch in the side. We're going to do it one more time. Okay, back into the tilt, holding yourself in that position, nice and strong through the waist. Flat your hand down to the floor, come onto your knees and your hands. So we're going to do an elephant pose. So slide shoulders towards hips, tighten the tummy, tuck those toes under and just lift the knees up a little bit. So the shoulder blade should be working quite strongly, and so should the tummy.
Okay, let's lower those knees down. Now this time we're going to just swing ourselves around, take the hand down on the floor and extend the right leg away. So we're lining the wrist up with the knee and the heel with the other leg. All right, so lifting your arm up to the ceiling, here's our gate pose. Are we ready to lift up with the top side of our body and take that big stretch to the side? Shoulders away from ears, that's it, beautiful. Breathe into the ribs. And then bring your arms into a T. We're back to our T position. That's it, lovely. Try and line your head, your spine, your arms into a T, and then lower yourself a little bit further. And lifting up. Take a big stretch. And then let's go and bring ourselves to a tilt. So we're working our internal rotators, the inside of the thigh, external rotators around the hips, and outer edge or the back of the thighs and the buttocks. So it's strengthening all those muscles. And here we go again. Take a nice big stretch. And let's do this tilt again. Last time. All right, let's lower that one hand down, then the other. Okay, now shoulders towards hips, so you're looking in front of your fingertips. Keep the feet flat on the floor. Walk the knees forward a tiny bit, then lift the knees up. Now try to bring your knees towards your elbows so you can feel your tummy working really strongly. Then lower your knees down. Tuck the toes under, lift your hips up, and then walk your hands towards your feet. Let's breathe in, hands on shins, breathe out, tighten the tummy, slide the hands up the legs, lift the shoulders to ears, roll them back and draw them downwards. Okay, give yourselves a shake. That was really good. Okay, now we're going to turn sideways, so you're lengthways along your mat. And we're going to pause for a moment doing our standing posture. Now, I think I should face you to start off with, and then I'll turn sideways, but you keep facing sideways. Now, I'm going to look at my toes. So this is where we're going to practice looking at how strong our internal, external rotators are, or if they're nice and even. So let's look at our feet. See if you can bring them a little bit closer together, but don't let the bones touch. Lift the toes up, spread them out and place them down. Now let's lift our rib cage up so it goes a little bit further away from our hips, so we've got more space and a longer spine. So lift shoulders up to ears, roll them down and bring your chin parallel to the floor. Make sure the tummy's firm and you're a little bit firm around the thighs and the bottom of the buttocks. So what we're going to do is we're going to just check into our internal rotators and just press the inside of your big toe, the base of your big toe, into the mat. Just press gently, don't press hard, just a little gentle press, and press the inside of the heels into the mat. Now I want you to keep the arches in your feet, don't flatten them down. And then with the top of your inner thighs, I want you to roll them inwards, slightly backwards. Now I don't want you arching up. I want you to keep your tummy nice and firm, keep your hips straight, and just feel a little inward movement at the tops of your thighs. So inwards towards the back of your body. So it's just a little movement. Can you feel those inside inner thighs engaging? So you can close your eyes, just have a little think about that. So your buttocks will be switched on. So remember we've got those external rotators in under our buttocks, and our buttocks also is one of those as well. All right, now I'm going to turn sideways again and stay in that same position. Now we're going to do a mountain pose and then come into sun salute. Lift your arms up Breathe out, bring hands to chest, tighten the tummy, and then let's step our right foot back. Lower the back heel down. This is a warrior one. Lift your arms up. You can have hands in prayer or arms a bit wider if that's more comfortable. Warrior one is lovely because we're stretching our hips now, the fronts of our hips, and this is where we have some rotators, and it's important to stretch those out as well. So we need to keep them nice and limber and strong. So make sure your knees in line with the ankle, you're reaching up your arms. Try and have nice long arms also. Now open your body out into a warrior two position. Again, turning your hips sideways, so we're stretching around the hips, pressing the feet firmly down so we're getting the inner thighs working. So internal rotators around the hips, which is an internal rotator also. So arms just a little lower than shoulders. That's it, beautiful. Now from here, we're going to reach forward as far as we can for a side angle pose. Elbow on the knee, palm up, close it into a fist. And you can place the other hand on your hip or lift it up to the ceiling. Remember, shoulders are away from the ears, tummy's tight, and the rib cage is a little bit lifted. So you're not relying on your knee to hold you up. Now, for those who'd like to join me going into a half bind, just take your hand behind your back. You can hold your thigh. Now from here, we're going to do a little bit of a challenging thing. We're going to option 2, which is a full bind. So this is for more intermediate level. Now, you can jump your back foot a bit closer to the front foot. Come onto the toes of the front foot. And we're going to lift up into a standing balance. So lift one foot up, that's it, lift it up. And then when you can, extend your leg out. And then let's lower that foot down, step the other foot back, and then come into a triangle. So lower your front hand down, straighten the leg. So you can all join me now. We've got a triangle. And then lift the other arm up to the ceiling. So a little squeeze in the butt. Your inner thigh should be switched on. Your hips should be working. So they're all our rotator muscles, internal and external rotators. Now we're going to lift up with our hands. Bring your hands to your hips, heel toe the back foot a little closer and rotate your hips forward. Okay, lovely. Take your hands behind your back, just rest one on top of the other. This is our option 1 position. Otherwise, link your fingers, press your palms together. We have a head to knee pose, so let's breathe in, breathe out, tighten the tummy, and bending forward, so keep the front knee soft, chin to chest. Lift the arms up, make sure you're pressing your palms together, or they should at least be drawing towards each other. Keep the front knee a little bit soft, tummy firm, arms extended if you can. Now we're stretching the back of the thigh, quite a strong stretch, and that's our external rotator, and around the buttocks and all the rotators in the buttocks. Okay, lovely. Lower the hand down, look forward. And lift up. Lift the hands up and hands to chest, and let's step the back foot forward. Beautiful. Nice work. Let's try that on the other side. Deep breath in, sun salute, and then float the hands down, bend the knees, and let's lunge the left foot back, heel down. Get nice and steady first. Lift the arms up. Warrior 1. Can you feel the stretch in your hip? That's very important for rotation as well. So nice big stretch in the hip muscles. All right, warrior 2, open the chest. So the hips and the chest are facing forward. So we want to switch on the buttocks, firm tummy, and get the inner thigh working. We need to stretch that out. So those important muscles in here that help keep our legs nice and straight. A little squeeze in the buttocks. Turn your gaze over your front middle finger. Okay, let's breathe in, reach forward as far as we can, elbow to knee, palm closes, reach the other hand up. Now remember, shoulders are down away from ears and this rib cage is just lifted a little. Now from here you can come into your half bind, which is your option 1. Full bind, option 2. Now, level 3 or option 3, step your back foot forward, more for advanced levels, or intermediate levels I should say, and bring your foot forward and lifting up, and then extend your leg. Okay, let's lower that foot down, step the other foot back, and then take the hand, same hand as the front foot, straighten your leg, come into triangle with the other arm up. Okay, so we're into our nice triangle position again. So join me. Make sure you're all joining me for this one. Okay, reach up to the ceiling and then float your hand back to your hips. Heel toe your foot a little closer and make sure you're squeezing your buttocks together, hands resting on top of each other. Otherwise, option 2, link fingers, press palms together. Let's breathe in and breathe out. Bending forward and then lifting the arms up. That's it, lovely. Keep the palms pressed together, nice and strong. Then lower your hands down on your spine, look forward, lift up, reach the arms up, breathe in and breathe out. Let's step the back foot next to the front foot. Deep breath in and out. All right, beautiful. Now we're going to bring ourselves down to the, oh no, we're not going to do that just yet because we're going to balance first. Very important to get some balances done. So we're going to do a combination of balances where we're going to use our internal rotators and external ones, working around this area. This is going to be our primary area of stretching and strengthening. Okay, so we'll start off with taking a nice big sun salute. So let's reach the arms up, breathe in. And as you breathe out, I want you to roll your right foot forward, tighten your tummy, hand behind the thigh. Let's create a nice flexion in the foot. So from here, you can do option 2. This is our option 1. Option 2 is full wing pose. Forward wing pose. Hold the big toe or the foot. Extend the leg forward. Arm out to side. Keep the tummy firm. Shoulders are down. Now bring that leg out to the side in a side wing pose. Now let that foot come into the thigh. Now tree pose. Now your option 1 is your foot on the floor. Option 2, foot to calm. And option 3, where I am. Hands to chest in prayer. Beautiful. Now we want to keep the hips nice and open and nice and straight. So we don't want any twisting in the hips. But we have a firm buttock, so we're really working into the lower hip area, to the hips and legs. Knee forward, we're going to float that foot back into, I'll need to walk forward just a little bit to reach my leg back. Okay, so we want 5 toes pointing at the floor. Very important to have your 5 toes and your knee pointing directly at the floor because that will help look after your lower back. Otherwise there'll be some compression in the lower back. Lower your foot down and let's lift up. Deep breath in and out. Okay, beautiful. Let's do that again on the other side. So let's take a deep breath in, reaching up and breathe out, hands to chest. And now let's roll the left foot forward, tighten the tummy and lift the knee up, take the hands behind the knee, flex the foot. Okay, so forward wing pose, option 2. Bring your leg forward, arm out to the side.
Now, side wing pose. Bring your foot to your thigh or wherever the best position is for your leg. Hands to chest in prayer. Bring your knee forward, shoot your foot back. Warrior 3. Toes can be on the floor if you find it quite challenging to raise your leg. So 5 toes point to the floor. If we've got the knee pointing at the floor, nice straight hips, and float your foot down. That's it, lovely. Deep breath in and out. Okay, now we're going to face sideways. We need to stretch a little bit into our hips. Hands by sides, let's grow nice and tall through the spine. We're going to do that standing posture again. It's our mountain pose. Feet close as you can together, spread the toes out, lengthen up through the spine, firm tummy, thighs and buttocks. And I want you to really concentrate on the insides of the feet again, pressing the base of the big toe, the inside of the big toe just gently into the mat, and the inside of your heels gently into the mat, and then taking the thighs and just trying to rotate them just backwards a little, not too much. These are small movements. So we should feel some tension on our inner thighs. Okay, let's take a deep breath in. Sun salute. Reach up and swan dive, forward fold. Chest to thighs, and then flat back. And forward fold. Step your feet back to down dog. Okay, now from here, we're going to step our feet together and lift our right leg up. And I want you to look to see if your toes, knees and hips are lined up. Pull your tummy in, bring your chest towards your thighs and your leg will lift up higher. But I want you to keep that leg straight. The temptation is very great to rotate that foot outwards. So we're keeping nice and strong here. Lunge your foot between your hands. Now you can stay with your knee up or just lower your knee down. Flatten the top of the foot and walk your hands to your knee. Bring your body forward, shoulders are down. Now you can stay here. This is stretching into the front of the hip. So here we have hip rotators. So we need to make sure that both the internal and external rotators are nice and stretched. All right, beautiful. Now you can lower your arms down, fingers point to the floor, pull the tummy in, lean forward and touch your fingers down. And if you can't quite reach here, that's perfectly okay. But we want to get a good stretch in the hips. Right, lower your hands down, tuck your back toe under, come back into your down dog. Okay, so we're stepping feet together again, lift the left leg up. Watch that the 5 toes point at the floor. Tummy in, chest to thighs, squeeze your butt. That's it, lovely. And we're going to lunge the foot between the hands and lower the back knee down, flatten the foot, walk hands to knees, and move your body weight forward. Shoulders are soft and down. Okay, lovely. If you can, lower your arms to the floor, pull your tummy in, fingers touch down. Okay, hands on the floor, tuck the back toe under, come into down dog. Now we're going to crouch and then step one foot forward and the other behind and take a seat. All right, so hands behind the knees. We're going to breathe in and breathe out and bring ourselves down to the floor. Now, we're going to bring our feet to the end position. Heels lined up with hips. Do try and have your toes pointing forward. Your knees are lined up with your hips. Have a look that they're in line with your hips, because some knees drop inwards and some knees drop outwards. So I want you to look at your hips and see if your hips are lined up with the knees. Okay. Hands by your sides. We're going to go into a rab. So let's breathe into the belly. Breathe out, navel to spine, flatten the lower back to the floor, and squeezing into the bottom part of the buttocks, peel your vertebrae off the floor. Now we're going to stretch into the fronts of our hips.
but I want you to squeeze the bottom part of your buttocks and lift your hips a bit higher. Now we're going to pause here and just think about what we're doing. Now arms are just on the floor, and I want you to focus on just a little extra squeeze in the butt, lifting the hips. So we've got this beautiful extension, big stretch around the hips. And then I want you to bring the thighs towards each other. Can you feel your buttocks squeeze a little bit more? You should feel that extra little squeeze. So you're not trying to bring your knees together. You're just bringing your thighs a little bit closer. So we're activating the buttocks. We're working into our internal, external rotators right around that hip area and the thigh area. Okay, let's breathe in and breathe out. Rolling down, one vertebrae at a time, round out that lower back. Let's bring the knees to the chest, one at a time. Give the knees a hug and rock from side to side, just on that lower back. Now let's lift the legs up. This is a lovely stretch for backs of legs. Just tighten your tummy, and if you need to hold the backs of legs, please do. Otherwise, arms by the sides, shoulder blades draw downwards, tummy draws in, and if you can extend your legs, just bring your feet into a V. So that works both inside and outside edges of the legs, works the tummy, gives a stretch around the buttocks and backs of legs. So working on stretching out our internal, external rotators. So if we keep them nice and limber, they work very well. Both sets need to be stretched and strengthened. All right, let's bring those knees to the chest. Bring them nice and wide so soles of feet are together. Hold your shins or your ankles if you can. Draw your knees wider. Just keep practicing and it will come eventually. Okay, beautiful. Let's bring the feet as wide as the mat, and you can drop your knees inwards or just come into the butterfly pose. Let's lift the hips up, make sure you're nice and comfy. Okay, you can bring the left hand on the heart center, right hand on belly, but just make sure the shoulder blades are flat and the chest is open. Breathe into the belly. And when you're ready, let's extend the legs. And have those toes pointing up to the ceiling, flex the feet. Let's just try one more time, working those internal, external rotators. So shoulder blades downward, chest open, left hand on heart center, right hand on belly. Let's pause here for a few breaths. All right, wonderful. Let your feet drop outwards now. Bring your arms to your sides. Now you can stay in this relaxation position for 5, 10 or 15 minutes, and you may wish to turn your video off and then turn it back on to finish with me. Otherwise, keep your video on and we'll finish shortly. Breathing into the belly. Let's move our fingers and toes. Walk the feet to the end position and roll to your side. Rest your head on your arm and let's take a few breaths. Let's lift up to a seated position. Just resting hands on knees or in the lap. Just lift your spine up gently and just drop your chin slightly towards your chest.
Now lower your hands down, big breath in, above your hands above your head in prayer, and breathe out, hands to chest. Now let's take 3 deep breaths to finish. Breathe into the belly, bring your breath up to your rib cage, into collarbones, into back, and breathe out. Let's do that again. Breathe into the belly, into the rib cage, collarbones and back, and breathe out. Let's take one more breath at our own pace, in and out. And have a peaceful heart and a peaceful mind and a wonderful day. Namaste. Thank you for joining me. And if you enjoyed the video, please press like and write a comment. Then subscribe to my channel. Come and join me again.